I'm Maggie,
And I'm Mike.
and welcome to the M&M Debrief. It is April 21st, 2026, and we're ready to get started. Mike, what do you have for us today?
Plenty, I guess. We got a full slate here. I do not have any follow ups from last week.
Are we still at war? I can't tell anymore.
Yeah, so the ceasefire is supposed to end tomorrow. So the question would be, is Trump going to tackle it again, chicken out, or is he going to escalate? Apparently, he's been rage tweeting. He's on Truth Social, but we're still going to call it tweeting.
Okay.
He's now rage tweeting regularly about the end times, end of the world, end of civilization. The first question is, if any other president of any other country were to do this, what would we think?
You think they're crazy? Yeah, did he extend the ceasefire though today? Like this afternoon?
I saw something on Twitter like that. I don't know why anybody we get so wrapped around the axle with whatever he says or whenever he says it.
Right.
Uh, if he's going to extend the ceasefire, what is going to end the ceasefire? Okay, let's say he does extend it. And so first of all, let me break it to you. He's not the one, he's not the one extending it, or he's not the one in charge. Iran is in charge. So maybe they said something. As far as I can tell, Iran has said nothing about continuing a ceasefire. Sounds like they want to get back at it, frankly. I am paying scant attention to the tweets. As far as I know, it's over tomorrow. But if he wants to extend it a little more.
Right. Well, I think you make the point at the end of the day is that who the hell knows what's going on? And to your point, I think that this is really affecting not only the confidence that we have in him since he's our leader, but also the confidence of all the other players and stakeholders in this. Iran doesn't know whether he's coming or going or whether there's a ceasefire or not a ceasefire. How are they supposed to react? What are they supposed to do? And then there's China and Russia. Um, those are two players that are kind of playing, kind of getting involved. I heard that China came out and said something, open up the straits. It's just, frankly, it sounds like it's just a mess. It's a cluster, and nobody knows what's going on. And there are no talks going on. I think Vance hasn't left yet for Islamabad to Pakistan for the discussions.
I had heard that Kushner and Wickoff were summoned back to the White House, but who knows? So I'm of the opinion that this is the end of America's dominance in the world with the petrodollar and policing the seas, that sort of thing. And there's a book called The Fourth Turning. I think I mentioned it in previous episode,
Yeah.
where we are at the end of this larger phase, and now we're trying to figure out what the next phase is going to look like. I believe that even though China may be saying publicly, yeah, just open up the strait and let's get back to business, behind the scenes, I think they are taking a even more dominant role in world affairs. I think Iran is taking the opportunity to exert its dominance in the Middle East. Russia is taking the opportunity to exert its force, and they finally got the Americans to fall into our trap or make a fatal blunder, and we're going to take advantage of it. China is now feeding, or maybe they have been for a while, they're feeding them coordinates from their satellite system. The Chinese have their own satellite system. I'm not sure if everybody knew that. They've got hypersonic missile technology that they're training the Iranians on. The Russians are now supporting Iran through the Caspian Sea, and they're putting the pedal to the metal. And between you, me, and the fence post, I don't think they want a ceasefire. I think Iran wants to take the opportunity to put Israel down as the bully in the Middle East, and China, Russia, and Iran want to form a new axis of power.
Wow.
Well, we'll see. It's kind of that's another one. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. If
I'd be surprised if there's a new axis of
axis,
power, yeah, led by China, Russia, and Iran, basically going across the globe. And the West is a number two player, meaning
well, I would say I don't know about number two player, but more of an equal player. America has dominated the seas, and now instead of policing the shipping lanes, we are now turning into pirates. I mean, we took an Iranian boat right out of the Strait of Hormuz, but we also boarded another Iranian cargo ship off of the coast of Sri Lanka, which is like 3,000 miles away. So, you
Why did
know,
they? Oh wow. Okay.
well, because we're pirates now. Let's say what we're saying.
We did take the Venezuelan oil tanker.
Yeah. We're shooting fishing boats in the Caribbean Sea, Venezuela. We're taking boats out of that are nowhere near a war zone, and
Right.
so we're pirates now. And so the days of us being the good guys, I don't know, you could decide whether we've ever been the good guys, but the dominant country, now it's going to be more equal going forward. USA will be equal to China and Russia as opposed to
But
more
okay.
dominant.
Right. So to your point though, so that means that we had to step down from our dominance in order to allow others to be at parity with us.
Right, that would be, it's kind of a byproduct of the America First. Now, America First is now mutated into America Only. We are burning bridges like crazy. Even our best pals, Canada, hate us. North America has three countries, and we managed to piss off both of them.
Well, do you think this is only during the term and leadership of Donald Trump, or in time, is this something that will right itself after Trump has finished his term and someone else is in?
If I was not America, I wouldn't trust America at all. I mean, there's plenty of people who already don't trust America, but anybody who's left to trust us is they can't anymore. Like, how do we know you're not going to elect another idiot that will continue this? It's real easy to say, well, once this is all done, this is just a phase, and we'll be back to normal. And even if we elect JD Vance as president, let's say, everything's going to be okay. And even if we elect a Democrat, I don't know. I think Gavin Newsom is looking like the lead. He's pretty corporate. He still takes APAC money. He still is in bed with all the corporations, the tech bros from California. He's really not all that much different. He's just not a dick. He's just so. I think this is a bridge that is burned.
Wow.
Our lives in America, will be changed, not quite as much, not catastrophically changed, but things will be different as far, a lot of stuff that we import now, we won't be able to get maybe, or it'll be more expensive. So I'm going to disagree that it's a phase. I think this is a larger structural shift, and we'll see how it turns out. Things will be different. That'll be my surprise. Don't be surprised if things are different. I can't quite tell how. Gas goes up to $7 a gallon, and then all of a sudden people start getting hot on getting an EV so that they don't have to pay gas, and then we need factories to do this, and all of a sudden we figure out, oh, we better make our own semiconductor factories because we can't count on Taiwan anymore because China will probably invade Taiwan. Stuff like that. And things will have to be changed and adjusted, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. I don't quite know.
Okay. Well, certainly something we will have to come back to and reassess, right? I mean,
Yeah,
things are changing all the time.
right. This isn't going to happen next week. This is going to play out over the next 5 years or so, and
Right.
we'll see. I mean, I'm going to say
Right.
it's going to take a little while to kind of sort itself out.
Right. But basically, what we're seeing is a shift in the world order and likely led by a weak and incompetent American leadership that is getting us into wars and breaking up our relationships with our allies and generally running amok and causing all sorts of chaos in the world, causing foreign states connecting with each other and finding a new leader. Because in the end, what everyone is looking for is stability. Would you agree?
Yes, there are a certain percentage of people that are muckrakers and want to mess things up, but vast majority of people just want stability, which
Yeah.
is why we have such brutal law enforcement.
Right.
And they like look at ICE, like how many people were just fine with what ICE was doing. That's because they think they're getting stability. So
And
yeah.
corporations, the business world, corporate America and corporations across the world, they need stability too. The lack of stability is affecting their ability to make money.
Right, and that would the segue would be, well, clearly AI is the next business
Right.
thrust that's going to happen, and that might be a negative thing because it's still in, I wouldn't say it's in doubt. It's not in doubt that AI is going to keep getting better and more. It's just what is actually going to be the effect of it. For a
Mm,
while, it's going to replace a lot of blue collar jobs. Now, then 6 months later, it's going to replace all the white collar jobs. Then, okay, wait a minute. Then they're all figuring out, well, if we put 20% of our people out of work, they're going to be pissed. And what are
yeah.
they going to do? And you've got now, sorry, I think we're segueing into the business section of the.
Yeah, right.
Well, we're moving on to our next topic, the business section. Sam Altman, who's the president of OpenAI, which is the company that makes ChatGPT, he has now had 2 times people have attacked his home, I guess. So somebody got caught throwing a Molotov cocktail at his home, and then another person, I forget what it was, but he's had 2 people try to attack him. He
And,
probably
and is
was.
that because he's in the business of AI?
Yes, exactly. He's the face of AI. He's been the face of AI for the last year and a half at least. The real top dog in the AI is the guy from Anthropic, Dario Amodi. So
Hmm.
he's the one who is starting to take over. He's the VHS to Sam Altman's beta. He's the one who looks like his large language model is starting to win the battle. But still, people are looking around going, "Oh, wait a minute, you wrote something that's going to replace the jobs of 25% of the population? Huh. I don't think we like that. We like having jobs. We like having money. We like being able to buy a house and go on vacations. And you're telling us we're now going to not be able to do that because some software program. I don't think they're happy. So
Right. And also, there is no plan for what's going to happen then. It's just a big question mark. Nobody really knows. Everybody is speculating and giving guesses. I have to share that I had a conversation with our plumber today. He stopped by and he brought this up as well. And the fact that nobody knows what's going to happen. His wife is an insurance broker. He's a plumber. I said, "You're in the money job. Everybody's going to need a plumber. They can't have AI replace you." But the changes that are going to happen are being talked about, but nobody is actually sitting down and taking it seriously and actually coming up with a plan for how we're going to allow people to get money to pay for goods and services and feed themselves and their families. Nobody's talking about the solution.
right. So there's a couple of reasons why that's not happening. Nobody is really sure of the exact problem. So we know we speculate and we talk about what AI stuff can do, but what it actually will do isn't quite known yet. So I don't know if there's a solution because I don't think we know exactly the problem. And is it all overblown? Or is it underblown? It might even cause half the people to not have jobs. So. But then the second reason is, man, it's just with Trump in charge, the Republicans in charge, I should say, they're just loath to have anything that smells of any kind of government planning, I guess, right? So
Are you
they're just
serious?
they just want stuff to play out and we'll see what happens.
Are you saying that the Republicans are saying or believing that they shouldn't come up with a solution or a plan or a model
What
to
I,
try and help guide our population into the next era?
what I'm saying is we are being led by a group of people, a political party that has spent the last 35 years saying how government stinks. The godfather of the current right is Ronald Reagan, who famously said the scariest words I've ever heard anybody say is "I'm from the government. I'm here to help." So this philosophy is just bled over generations to, anytime you say, this is a group of people who would greatly be helped by a national healthcare system, but they've been programmed by Fox News and various other outlets to just hate anything from the government, and so I don't see the current leadership. I don't see Donald Trump's coming up and saying, hey, let's form a government task force to try to deal with AI, because he hates the government. It just gets in his way. Even when he's in charge of it, he hates the government. In fact, he purged a large part of it just last year, and so I just don't see any sort of coordinated effort. It has to happen. Don't get me wrong. It has to happen. There has to be some sort of planning, but it just ain't gonna happen with this guy. I can tell you that.
So, forgive me. So, are we just really putting the responsibility on the Democrats to come up with a solution and be the adults in the room?
I think we're expecting. Well, here's another piece of bad news for you. I think we're expecting the corporations to do it, the tech guys to do it.
Well, they're not going to come up with health care or a Social Security plan. Oh my God.
Or AI, the AI part of it is what I was talking about. Yeah,
they're gonna do the AI as long as it is in their best interests as, a publicly traded company, because they need to continue to make money for their shareholders. That's it.
So, I mean, a lot of people are now opening up to a national healthcare system and some reforms in Social Security, which would involve government. And it's just, how can these two teams reach across the aisle and have some sort of cooperation?
Somebody said to me once, why do people hate change? And I said, I'm okay with change as long as I'm the one making it. And I think right now we are not the ones making it. We're the victims of change. And I really do not see anyone that I trust in a leadership position identifying that there's a problem, and then B, doing anything to address it for the future. And not even for me, for the kids and the grandkids out there in the next generations. I just don't know where this is going, and kind of I just don't see anybody stepping up.
Well, unfortunately, I'm of the opinion that nothing is really going to change until some baby boomers start to die off.
Yeah.
And I don't like saying that because I'm a baby boomer. I was born. You and I were born in the last 2 years of the baby boom generation. I feel more like what is it, Gen X? Is that the next? I feel more like
Gen X.
I feel more like a Gen Xer, but I am technically a baby boomer. And unfortunately, the baby boomers have run roughshod over the economy and government forever, and until they start going away, there's no chance of any sort of structural reform on some of these things, sadly.
Yeah, I do see a lot of hope in the Gen Z, though.
Is that the current?
That's
Yeah, there's
the young, the newest generation, and they seem to have their priorities right, and they see a lot of ridiculousness going on and are speaking up.
Yeah, there is most assuredly a generation. We talk a lot about what is the real divide in this country, and it's
Right.
it's not red versus blue.
No.
It's the Epstein class versus the rest of us. It's the generations. It's the baby boomers against the millennials against Gen Z. Unfortunately, I don't think anything will change until there's an emergency of some sort of. We now have 47 trillion in debt, and they're now trying to get more money for this war, and when they start cutting into Social Security to get that money, I gotta believe people won't like that.
They've already talked about it, right?
Yeah, I think it's already come up. Yes, so. Go ahead, take our health care, and go ahead and keep this stupid war going, because I know that the Lockheed Martin needs more money. Yeah, so anyway.
Well, Yeah, I believe Donald has talked about not being able to do anything for healthcare. People are worried about FEMA not having enough actual people available to be able to help if there is an actual crisis that comes along. They just don't have enough people or resources for it. It just feels like all the focus has been on investing in war. And as you know, and everybody knows this, nothing is being done to actually address some of the domestic issues that we have, such as the price of groceries, the price of gas caused by the war, the tariffs that caused all the price increases, and it's just been, and the price of power. There's just nothing being done for the people. It's being done for the ego of one individual. And
Well, you get
I
you
know
get
we
the
all know that, but it's just, when is somebody going to stand up and do something?
well, yeah, I mean, you get the government you vote for, I guess, right? And so
Yeah.
I would say I agree. Somebody needs to stand up based on how our system works. Who would that be? It seems like there's just so many people that put their political party ahead of anything else. So nobody in the Republican Party is going to step up and you know make that walk and go into the Oval Office and have that talk because they're just afraid of the guy. I mean, just look at who's current person who's going through nomination process to be the new Fed chair, Kevin Walsh.
Yeah. Worse. Yep.
I mean, he can't even say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election because he knows as soon as he does that, he's going to get his nomination withdrawn. And here's a guy
Right.
as a and in a rare moment of clarity, Trump actually nominated someone competent.
Right.
I know this isn't Cash Patel here. This guy actually knows kind of what he's doing. And so,
Right.
and here this is a dream job for him. And he's this close to being the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which is a fairly short list. The
Right.
list is just as short as being president, and some would argue that it's actually the most powerful position in the world. The Fed chairman is actually the most powerful person in the world. That's a lot of people argue that, and here he has to slice and dice his words so carefully,
Not to
not to
offend.
not to ruin his chances, because he just wants to get on that list, get on the plaque of being a Fed chairman. And I'm sure damn well if you sat down and had a beer with this guy, he'd tell you, yeah, Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. It's pretty clear, but he can't say that because as soon as he does, Donald Trump will pull his nomination and it's over for
Right.
him. And no Democrat's going to nominate Kevin Warsh after that. So and so they're so scared, which would tell me that there's no leadership, no courage. I mean, even the Republicans finally made the walk down to the White House and told Richard Nixon, hey, it's over, man.
Mm.
At least some of those guys, Howard Baker and those guys, had the guts to go against their own party.
Mm.
And so there's so many people just, you could be the nicest, most kind, and most intelligent person in the world, but if you're in the wrong political party, people don't even want to talk to you. So I don't know
Right.
how compromise is going to happen under that. So
Right.
it's going to take an emergency, some sort of shocking, some sort of system shock. Let me say, I don't
Yeah.
quite know what it is, but we only respond to emergencies, and so hopefully it'll wait until the next president before the emergency hits. Then we can have a shot of having something reasonable to solve it.
Okay. Are there any other topics you'd like to focus on today?
Let me see here. What do we got?
You said something about scientists.
Yeah, I got that. That's another one. How about cabinet members? Let's see. We've got now. So Kristi Noem has been fired. Cash Patel just had this brutal article
Yeah.
on him with
In the Atlantic.
a dozen and a half sources about how he's basically a lush.
Yeah, the head of the FBI is a lush.
You've got the head of the Department of Labor, who is just this party animal, Lori Chavez Dermer, and her husband, who is actually I don't know, like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, her husband got banned from the Department of Labor building because he was sexually harassing everybody.
And apparently, she also asked her staffers to keep her father happy and to pay attention to him. And he was making lewd overtures to these female staffers, which is completely disgusting.
Yeah, so I don't know where do these people come from? I mean, and they're not even trying to be sly about it. You know, it's
That's the yes. It's
the
just so brazen. It's so out there.
the brazenness, the arrogance of this. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I can do whatever I want, and there's only one guy I got to worry about. And eventually, finally, somebody talked some sense into her, I guess,
Mm,
or something happened. So yeah, and so just the low quality of the cabinet members. We probably have so Warsh, the Fed nominee, he's respectable.
mm,
The woman who is in charge of agriculture is actually respectable. I mean, the farmers are getting screwed by the tariffs and the fertilizer and stuff, but actually the woman in charge of the agriculture department is pretty sharp
listen.
and trying to help or trying to understand. I think she grew up on a farm, but she has no real farm experience, so she's attempting to help or try. But everybody else, I mean, my God, Lutnick, what's the education? McMahon is just decimating things. This woman in labor. I mean, what the hell? I can't. Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, no, they're just all incompetent and they're all an embarrassment to America.
Mm,
Again, through their poor behavior, lack of self control, lack of professionalism, are making us all look, making America look bad,
mm.
making America look weak. And if for no other reason, that would be enough for me to, suggest that they all get thrown out. Is there any reason why we're not kind of noting the fact that the first three cabinet members he got rid of were female? Not that they didn't deserve it, but there's lots of other people who deserve.
Yeah, yeah. No.
Why the women? Why the females?
Well, well, you know the answer to that. So, because the misogynist pig, basically,
Yeah.
Cash Patel is awful. Howard Lutnick is awful. Yeah,
Mm,
no, it's not going unnoticed that the women are getting fired first.
all right.
Bondi's gone. Nome is gone. Chavez is going to be gone. It looks like Patel. So like, here's the next thing. Who's the next? Who's the first man that's going to get let go? The guy who's not white.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So let's see who's left. Besant, he's a white man. He'll stay. Lutnick, white man. He'll stay. There would be Patel will be next, and then the person in charge of
Except,
Hegseth is white. He'll stay. So it'll be McMahon, Linda McMahon. She'll probably be next. She's a woman. So I don't think there's any black secretaries, right?
no,
So yep.
not to my knowledge. How about Vance?
Yeah. So what did it take for Mike Pence to get not renominated or not asked? He had to go against Trump, right? So
Right.
if Vance is pretty sharp. I got a lot of issues, but you can't argue with former Marine he got through Ohio State with good grades, ex smart guy, got through Yale Law School with good grades, so he's a smart guy. So you think he'd look ahead a little bit, well, so I don't know. If I'm him, I'm thinking, well, what's the best move for me? Is it to just eat it and stick with this guy, or resign? And he could resign on very good grounds that the war was just a dumb idea and I'm not going to be part of it. And thinking ahead to the next thing.
So, if I might interrupt, I actually am thinking a little differently. I think Trump will get rid of him because it has become known that Vance was the only one that was really against the war, and the war is clearly becoming known as a failure, and he's not going to want Vance to show him up as being smarter or the one who did the right thing and was against the war. I think he might just try and get Vance to leave, push him
That
out.
is, yeah, that's actually a pretty good approach. Yeah, what is he not like? And the whole reason he got rid of most of the upper echelons of government and why he's got rid of most of the upper echelon of the chain of command in the military and the Joint Chiefs is he didn't want anybody who looks smarter than him anywhere near.
Mm,
Well, that's why when you see Zelensky come into the Oval Office, that's why you see Vance turn into a pit bull. Because I don't know if can you fire the vice president?
right.
I don't know. I don't think I know we got to look this up. We will look this up for next week.
You can strongly encourage them to leave.
Yeah,
I can see
so
that.
I would, if I were Vance, I would never take the job to begin with, but so Vance has got to be looking ahead, going, what's the best move for me? Resign now, and he'll win the manosphere, like all these podcast bros who
Good point.
hate the war, and all of a sudden they're gonna
Good
go,
point.
okay, a man of principle,
Yeah.
cool. He'll look ahead to the post-Trump era, but will he be able to get nominated from the Republican Party? I'm going to go out and say I don't think he can actually fire Vance. So we got to look this up.
He can't, but he would force him out some way.
Impeach. You can impeach him.
Yeah.
And if
Well,
he told...
Agnew was impeached, right?
He resigned,
He resigned.
I believe, yeah. So if Trump calls Mike Johnson and says, I want you to impeach J.D. Vance for some reason, he might get impeached. That might actually be a badge of honor for him. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. But
So, Mike, any final thoughts?
well, I have a few thoughts. So there is this thing going on where 11 scientists over the course of the last 4 years have either died or gone missing under mysterious circumstances. These are people that work at NASA, Jet Propulsion Labs, MIT, various other government research installations, and in various roles, either scientists or even admins. So if you want to do some research on this, just Google scientists missing or dead, and you'll get a lot of information. Well, this guy who worked at MIT got shot in front of his house. This guy who worked at JPL went missing. This retired Air Force general went on a hike and is gone. This admin who had access to some information, she's gone, missing. And everybody can just say, well, they're all involved with scientific research, but they can't quite put the thread together and connect the exact specific thing that they're all... I guess it could be a coincidence. Right. So then if you're going to go to a conspiracy, so what's the conspiracy? So number one is just a coincidence. Okay, fine. I don't think so. Seems like there's just enough of them. It's not a coincidence. So who is the beneficiary? Who would, what is the actual reason, and who could do it? Is it China? Is it Russia? Is it something else? You're putting together a bunch of people who may have had access to certain information, and whoever knows that information is trying to get rid of them. So then what's the information? Is it some sort of nuclear related thing? Is it a UFO related? Is it AI related? And if so, who would benefit from these people? And what is the connection with these people? So I'm gonna go on a limb and say, don't be surprised if this is not a coincidence. I'm trying to not make any predictions, but I'm gonna say, don't be surprised if this is kind of a conspiracy.
No, let's be clear that we really don't do conspiracy theories, but you're saying that this could be something. There could be something here.
This is now, and I've heard about this for the last probably 4 to 5 months, and mildly, and now it's on CNN. We now have a government subcommittee and a task force investigating this. Yeah, from the government is now starting to investigate this. So it ain't just you and I smoking some dope and talking about this.
No, we're not smoking dope.
We live in Illinois. It's legal, but we don't smoke dope. But this is actually a thing now. So
that's a thing. Okay, I didn't know that. That's a good.
Yeah, so it's on CNN, other news sources, and there's actually a government committee looking into this. So people are starting to look into this.
All right.
Maybe.
Hey, we're looking into it. We're talking about it.
We're looking into it. We're talking about it. Yes. So.
All right. Okay. So, are we complete, Mike? Anything else you want to add before we finish up?
I got my one. I'm gonna try to introduce a new section to our podcast here called Surprises. And so for those of you out there, Maggie is our producer. She puts together the list of things we talk about, but By the time she gets that done, there might be some sort of new surprise that comes up. And so we might have some surprises. So I got something I saw. I don't know if it's a surprise. And then I got another don't be surprised.
Okay.
So my first, and this is real. There are now, and I'll let you guys decide what you think of this. There are now 8 states in the union that in all their documentation, their educational material that they give to the schools and any sort of legal document that they might put out, 8 states are now replacing the expression West Bank. For those of you that aren't super tied into the Middle East and Israel, so the West Bank is part of Israel, that where a lot of fighting is. We've heard a lot of all the stuff that's happened over Gaza, but there's a whole nother section in Israel called the West Bank, and it's obviously the west side of Israel on the border with Jordan, I believe. And there's been a ton of fighting there over the years, and these states are now replacing the expression West Bank with Judea and Samaria, which is the actual names of the regions there. So my whole life, this has been referred to as the West Bank. There's fighting on the West Bank. There's settlements on the West Bank. And now you've got 8 states who are changing all their documentation. And instead of saying the West Bank, they're saying Judea and Samaria, which I'm no expert in Israeli geography, but that's what that area is the actual name of that area. So I'm not sure what this means, and this is real.
And we don't know why.
We don't know why. I mean, this kind of gets back to what I think is the religious overtones of all the war we have, and kind of the influence of AIPAC in this country. I don't know.
People might not know what AIPAC stands for.
AIPAC is
American Israel
PAC, American Israeli PAC. So it's a political action committee specifically designed to forward the
the interests, kind of
promote the interests of Israel, and they're very strong and powerful, and they actually contribute to probably at least 75% of the people in Congress. Take AIPAC money. I don't know if this is due to AIPAC. I'm just guessing that. Okay. But just the change in tone and verbiage tells me there's some sort of religious aspect to this.
There's something behind it. Maybe we can research it for next time.
There's something behind it. I don't know if I should care about this. That's the first thing I ask is, should I care about this? It seems like I should, but I can't tell why. More and more people are not referring it to as the West Bank, and they're referring to it as Judea and Samaria. Okay. We'll see.
We'll look into it too, to see if there's anything we can find out.
Right, and then I'm gonna say, don't be surprised if Turkey starts to play a little more active role in Middle Eastern affairs. Turkey is a country in Southern Asia, I guess. Or I don't know if they might be in Europe. They're in the EU and they're part of NATO, so they must be in Europe. But they're a Islamic country, and they are not happy with Israel, and their war of words is escalating. Slightly between Israel and Turkey. And I forget his first name. The president of Turkey is not very happy with Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, like a lot of people. And the war of words is escalating between Turkey and Israel. So nothing's happening yet that I know of, but I'm going to say don't be surprised.
So if Erdogan is probably buddy with Trump. So maybe Trump is having him to stay in line so that...
Right. So the reason I'm saying this is because I think NATO's on the verge of breaking up. NATO countries, it's a defensive organization. But if NATO breaks up, or maybe specifically if America leaves NATO and NATO tries to reinvent itself in combination with the European Union, then all of a sudden maybe Turkey's going to go, well, it's been fun, but we're going to go our own way. And this is gonna be down the line. It's not gonna be immediate, but the war of words is escalating out of Turkey about being very angry at Israel. I don't know if anything will come of it, but Don't be
Don't be
surprised.
surprised. All right.
All right, that's it for me.
All right. Well, with those famous words, we will conclude today's show.
And
Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate you subscribing and look forward to talking to you on Saturday. Thanks
thank
so
you for
much.
thank you for joining episode 4.
All right. Bye bye.